The first time I ever heard about it was at home at the dinner table when my wife had just returned from Atlanta, from CDC in Atlanta, and had heard rumors about mystical disease, fatal disease in young men, otherwise healthy before that. So and it was an increasing number. That was sort of a dramatic first announcement of what later would be called AIDS. I think that I was in all earnest involved after the conference in Bangui in Africa in 1985, when all the people who later became key persons in the fight against AIDS attended that, like Jonathan Mann, like Peter Piot, many others, and it was then obvious that the scope of the epidemic was catastrophical. All ages, men and women, children were infected, which was not the case in the Western countries. So it was quite another big catastrophe, which you understood that what happened. It was a nightmare. It was creme de la creme of the HIV researchers in the world who had gathered informally to a lunch in Paris during the International AIDS Conference in Paris. And
this is in 1986.
Yeah. And it was a competition between different countries in order to arrange the World AIDS Conferences, International AIDS Conferences. So I raised and said that Sweden would be willing to organize the next AIDS conference, which was very brave of me, because I had not had any discussion with Swedish colleagues or Swedish government. But it went well, so it was an important international conference in Stockholm in 1988. The Minister of Health was interested in this, and also it was already a matter of fact. I had this dared to invite people, but to my relief, the government agreed. Well, it was several new issues that we started in Stockholm at the Stockholm conference. For instance, to invite HIV-infected people living with HIV/AIDS, and giving them a forum called the Face of AIDS. And so the HIV-infected people contributed greatly to the success of the conference. Also, for the first time, we put the focus on Africa. I can't remember that it was any major difficulties, because it was a feeling among experts, among politicians, of course also among those living with HIV/AIDS, that it was important to collect the forces against this disease and avoid duplication, and to have it as efficient as possible. It was important also to stand free from political and economical pressure. So that has been one of the most important issues. It could have been an unhealthy competition between countries, between interest groups, between science. So therefore, this was very important, to collect the forces, to work together. And it was not as difficult as it can sound. I think it was a pressure. Everybody realized that it was an extremely important issue at the time. So people behaved with confidence and strong will. It has been a very important factor that we had the media on our side all the time, with small exceptions, but the major picture is that it has been a great help to reach the politicians, to reach population at large through the media. You have to fight all the time. It's no easy victories on this area. So it's a continuous fight against prejudices, against ignorance, against politicians, not against them, but to get them with you. Because with such a relentless virus and disease, I cannot see for the time being any end to it. So the fight has to go on. For many, many years still, there will not be a cure. So it has to be the continuous lifetime treatment. It's not obvious that it ever will be, but of course we hope, and science is working on it. There are new infectious agents and epidemics all the time. Take SARS, for instance, which were not expected. But I think, fortunately, that HIV/AIDS was particularly difficult and its consequences. So hopefully it will not be as big problem, but you never know.